College of Arts and Law, Tuesday 12th of July 2022, 12:30 p.m. College of Arts and Law, Tuesday 12th of July 2022, 12:30 p.m. College of Arts and Law, Tuesday 12th of July 2022, 12:30 p.m. College of Arts and Law, Tuesday 12th of July 2022, 12:30 p.m. College of Arts and Law, Tuesday 12th of July 2022, 12:30 p.m. Congratulations to our University of Birmingham graduates. Here we are in the Grace Hall at the heart of the Edgbaston campus. Attendees, mostly graduates and their friends and family, are seated. Here are the student musicians. It's great to see them returning to ceremonies following the pandemic. Now we're getting started. Here's the first of our 2 mace bearers beginning the ceremony. The centenary mace bearer is usually a staff member who has volunteered to take part in the ceremony. The mace bearer enters through the back of the Great Hall and leads a procession of staff to the stage. The Squire Bedell, who is the second of the 2 mace bearers, follows. Are placed on the stage for the duration of the ceremony.
It gives me great pleasure to declare this congregation open.
Good day, everyone. My name's Professor Corey Ross. I'm Pro-Vice-Chancellor and Head of the College of Arts and Law, and it's my pleasure to welcome you today to your graduation. As we start our celebration, we just invite you to have a little look around, and I can't think of a better venue in which to celebrate all of your achievements here. As you sit here in the Great Hall, you might just be able to glimpse some of the ghosts of all of the things that have happened here since it first opened more than 100 years ago. In recent times, very recent times, this has included row after row of desks set out for exams, enough to strike fear into any student's heart and remind those of us sitting up here of when we were in your place. On this stage, speakers have given lectures, speeches, opposing sides have engaged in heated debates. We've welcomed international conferences, religious festivals, celebratory dinners, and even the odd wedding or two. But the Great Hall has also had some less obvious uses over the years. If, for example, you'd been here during the First World War, you might have been a soldier returned from the front lines, or a nurse treating the wounded, when the hall was, of course, converted into a military hospital. In the Second World War, you could have been training hard on a pommel horse as the Great Hall became used as a gym. In the 1960s, you'd have been watching the latest films at a pop-up cinema. In the 70s and 80s, you might have been playing in the City of Birmingham Symphony Orchestra, which recorded around 50 albums here over those 2 decades. And more recently, and definitely less glamorously, you might have had a swab stuck up your nose at a COVID testing facility in this room. But anyway, you're now part of the history of this building, but more importantly, part of the history of this university. And for your own history, think back to when you first arrived here. Or for those of you who started during the pandemic, when you first logged on to a Zoom call. Most of you would have experienced some mixture of excitement and trepidation, maybe a bit of nervousness about whether you'd fit in, about whether you'd be able to tackle all of the challenges ahead. But as you progressed through your degree, there will have been some times when the decisions you needed to make seemed pretty clear, pretty obvious. Other times when you weren't so sure what to do next. There will have been concepts, problems, ideas that inspired you, others that simply made your head hurt. You will have enjoyed many lectures that filled you with knowledge and sparked your imagination. You might, dare I say, also have experienced a few that went on just a bit too long. You possibly spent some long nights in the library hoping against hope that the information would stick in your head, or that you could find just the right reference for an interesting piece of research to include in an essay. Outside of your academic studies, you'll have undoubtedly made new friends, some of whom will remain friends for years and years to come. Treasure and cherish those people, those friendships. You will support each other during life's ups and downs, and no matter where you go in the world, a call or a message from them will make you smile. So I hope that as you look back on all of this, you'll recognize what you've achieved. That you may have started out with some self-doubt, some uncertainty, but you've achieved anyway. That you can make friends when thrown into brand new situations, and that you can inspire and be inspired by others. I hope your time at this university has given you many, many fantastic memories that will stay with you forever. So as you reflect today on your experiences at Birmingham and on your graduation, you should rightly be proud of the personal qualities that you've all shown. But I know that all of you will agree that you couldn't have done it all by yourself. If it's true that it takes a village to raise a person, it is certainly true that it takes a university to produce a graduate. So during your time here, you've been taught by some truly brilliant lecturers and been inspired by their enthusiasm and their deep knowledge and expertise in their area. You'll also have been supported in many ways by the tutors and student support teams around you. So I'd like to offer you here the opportunity to thank everyone who supported you during your time here, some of whom have been able to join us today and are sitting behind me. So thank you very much, lecturers, professors. So I can see as I look out across the Great Hall that there are many people in this room with very, very proud faces. And I know from experience that some of them will have a tear in their eye, maybe a little lump in their throat, as you walk up onto stage to graduate. And there will be some people watching online, or people elsewhere simply thinking of you now, and who are all proud of everything that you've achieved. You will all have that person, or those people, who believed in you, people who supported you, people who showed you kindness, and without whom you wouldn't be here. So let's say thank you to all of them now as well. Okay, so very soon now, you will come up onto this stage, and the Chancellor, Lord Bilimoria, will admit you to your degree. Remember, this is your moment, and when your name is read out, that moment will be your graduation. And family and friends here, that is your cue to make a bit of noise. So, do be careful on the steps, give a big smile for the cameras, and don't forget to savor the moment as you come up. Thank you very much.
Now for the handing of the scrolls. The graduates will walk from the left of the stage to the centre and collect their scroll from the conferring officer. After their congratulations.
I am Professor Nelson Enongchong. I'm the Deputy Head of the Birmingham Law School. Today I'll be presenting the graduates. Chancellor, to you and the university, I present the names of these graduates as listed in my program, both in attendance and in absentia, proved worthy to be admitted to their respective degrees.
By virtue of my authority as Chancellor, I admit those persons listed in the program to the degree for which they are presented.
College of Arts and Law, Birmingham Law School, Doctor of Philosophy, for research into the conceptual and doctrinal relationship between human rights and security, Andrea Maria Prerosi. Master of Laws, Criminal Law and Criminal Justice, Latifa Bremer. Suraj Kishan Halam. Nina Onsworth. General Karia Ahmed Chowdhury. Alicia D. Senza. International Commercial Law, Yatin Arora. Zara Masood. Bachelor of Laws, International Law and Globalization, Nadira Abdul. Mariam Aoun. Mohammed Magdi Mustafa Mohammed Badawi. Yuman Basra. Joanna Rachel Cameron. Owen Brendan Campbell. Maya Drury. Iraya Fagbayumi. Sophie Hadava. Megan Hornsby. Lavanya Maria. Kendra Bridget Silva Espin. Muskan Surana. Vasilina Zaprianova. Law with Business Studies, Zeluka Ali. Fatima Mohammadi Barinwala. Callum Paul Cassidy. Ho Yo Chan. Will Grizzly. Shyam Suresh Kulangara. Oluwatofumi Labi. Liyika Lindsay. Maya Pamela Linter. Quinton Nirenda. Regan Ormond. Sophia Maria Riali. Ibra Rees. Billy Lewis Saxton. Sumaya Sirajuddin. Nivita Manish Shukadi. M. Sami Tahan. Lorraine Erika Vickerman. Chinye Melanie Wong. Ho Yang Wong. Shuye Yap. Law with Criminology. Maya Olivia Beddoes. Josnia Begum. Poppy Maya Brown. Ellie Kothra. Hava Cohen. Jody Cook. Bronnew Evans. Brady Evans. Alida Galatli. Eva Gray. Rahan Hakim. Rebecca Louise Hughes. Daniela Pinto. Tess Kelly. Sadia Kanu. Claudia Lapinska. Maisha Nishat. Lee Nugula. Megan Marie Piasi. Caitlin Reeves. Chloe Laura Roberts.
Chancellor, Pro-Chancellor, graduates, graduands, and guests, on grand occasions such as this, at which we celebrate those who have just completed their courses here and attained their degrees, the university also likes to celebrate exceptional individuals whose achievements in the world beyond the university are so meritorious that they too warrant the right to put additional letters after their names and wear ceremonial robes on all domestic occasions. It is with pride and a certain admitted measure of self-congratulation that the university today confers an honorary doctorate on someone who holds one law degree from Birmingham already and whose career, since receiving it in 1977, constitutes an extended advertisement for that degree's value. But as well as exemplifying the sheer worldly success that a law degree may enable a Birmingham alumnus to achieve, founding a flourishing real-world praxis on the academic expertise inculcated during his undergraduate studies, Richard Haywood also exemplifies the civic values that have been no less central to this university's mission than its commitment to excellence. We congratulate him today not only on what he has gained since graduating from Birmingham, but on what he has given back, not least through expert, diligent, and wholly voluntary service to the university itself. Certainly, to adopt the terminology of consumerism, nobody could fault Richard Haywood's brand loyalty. He had the discrimination to marry someone who graduated in law from Birmingham in the same cohort as he did, Deanna. And their daughter, Evie, clearly a grateful, intelligent, and judicious child, graduated herself from Birmingham in law just last year. On leaving the university, Richard soon qualified as a solicitor, and he soon proved to be an outstanding interpreter and exponent of corporate law, becoming a partner in Rag & Company, now Gowling WLG, which he served for 25 years, and later in Reynolds Porter Chamberlain LLP, for which he's now consultant. He came to specialize in mergers and acquisitions, but rather than treating such affairs purely as matters of compliance and cash, he has engaged thoroughly and beneficently with the entrepreneurial world in which he moves. Through his work with private equity firms such as NVM, he has enabled many promising companies in our region to grow. And clearly inspired by his university's motto, per ardua ad alta, through hard work to the heights, he has never shirked a difficult or even impossible-looking challenge. Among his most recent projects, for instance, has been Power Play Golf, a company determined to promote a new version of the game which, while still recognizable as golf, will nonetheless be so exciting and even photogenic that it will attract unprecedented television audiences. Richard has also sought to rescue his fellow lawyers from some of the Dickensian drudgery still associated with their calling in his role as chairman of Clarillis, a software company which specializes in the automatic drafting of legal documents. But Richard's services to the voluntary sector have been just as outstanding as his career in business. As well as helping to make the West Midlands more prosperous while scrupulously keeping them legal, he has done his utmost to sustain the region's social, cultural and intellectual life. He spent 4 years as a non-executive director of the Birmingham Royal Ballet, and, not content with serving only one medium of artistic and intellectual endeavour, he subsequently joined the governing council of this university. Over 10 years, the last 8 as Deputy Pro-Chancellor, he has carried out superhuman feats of unpaid administration. He has attended 46 meetings of council, 9 meetings of the Audit Committee, 41 meetings of the Strategy, Planning and Resources Committee, and 15 meetings of the Remuneration Committee, of which he is chair. He has also served on several council subgroups, on the council membership committee and on the investment subcommittee, and he has chaired 2 whole effectiveness reviews. According to his colleagues on the council, Richard is unfailingly wise, and he always displays, and I quote from an unnamed source, an ability like no other to identify a loose end which he will raise at council meetings in a gentle but persistent way. He copes with the stress involved in pursuing all that persistence, I'm told, by practicing yoga, as well he might. University administration may sound unglamorous, and frankly it is. But it is thanks to all that careful, accurate and imaginative work by the Council that this institution has been able to flourish as it has over the last decade, making in the process over £1 billion worth of enlightened investment. So it is a pleasure to speak in front of an audience of Birmingham law graduates of such a worthy role model, someone whose photograph should adorn your every mantelpiece. Chancellor, to you and to the university, I present Richard Hayward, deemed worthy of admission to the degree of Doctor of Laws honoris causa.
By virtue of the authority bestowed upon me as Chancellor, I am delighted to admit you to the degree of Doctor in Law honoris causa. Congratulations.
Chancellor, Pro-Vice-Chancellor, graduates, graduands and guests. Michael, thank you. I found it slightly hard to recognise myself from that description, and I'm sure my family who are sitting here found it even more difficult. It's a great honour and privilege and a pleasure for me to accept an honorary doctorate from the university, and particularly do so with my wife and members of my family here today. We've got a strong family connection with the university, as Michael mentioned. We live about within a mile of the university. Deanna and I, my wife and I, met here in 1974, studied here from 74 to 77, a time which feels, and I'm sure for the younger members of the audience, will feel impossibly long ago, which it does in some ways, but it seems only, yesterday in others. We both graduated in 77, and as Michael said, the family connection continued when our daughter Evie studied law, graduating last year. She can't be here today, sadly, as she's in London recovering from COVID. My involvement with the university started with the council, and many of you will know the council's the non-exec governing body of the university. But it all started with a call from a headhunter one afternoon who asked me if I'd be interested in joining the council. And at the time, I was a managing partner of one of the local law firms. And I was interviewed by a panel led by Ed Smith, the previous Pro-Chancellor, and joined the council in November 2012. And then 2 years into that role, without, I thought, me having really done anything to warrant it, I was asked to be deputy chairman of the council. It's fair to say that when I joined the council, there'd been a period in which the university's star had waned somewhat, and Professor Sir David Eastwood had been appointed as Vice-Chancellor, which is, for those of us familiar with corporate terms, is CEO, effectively, to transform the fortunes of the university and to move it back to where it belonged, being seen nationally and internationally as one of the world's leading institutions for teaching and research. David was smart enough to persuade Lee Sanders, who sits on stage today, to join as registrar, or COO as the corporate world would call it. And Lee has been an unsung hero, although I'm determined to put an end to that. He's made an enormous contribution to the university. Around 5 years ago, Tim Jones joined from Warwick University as Provost, and congratulations are due to him, because in keeping with a line of people who've left the university to lead other academic institutions, Tim is leaving us, and he becomes Vice-Chancellor of the University of Liverpool on the 1st of January. Throughout my 10 years here, Erica Conway has kept a firm grip on the University of Finances, and in a world of surprises, I'm pleased to say that we've had no financial surprises. Uncertainty, yes, in spades, but no financial surprises, which is some achievement. It's been a real privilege to work with all of those who've been part of an incredibly talented team over the last 10 years and to have played a bit part in that journey. It's also been great to witness the success that the university has achieved in changing its fortunes. It's evidenced, amongst other things, by the recent excellent set of results that have been received in the Research Excellence Framework Review, in which the quality of the university's research is tested, and in the recent National Student Survey Review, in which the satisfaction levels of students is tested. David Eastwood retired at the end of 2021, and we were lucky enough to be able to persuade Adam Tickell to join us as the new VC from the University of Sussex. Adam took up the role at the beginning of this year, and it's been great to see Adam return. He was here previously as provost, and a number of the steps he put in place during the time he was here contributed significantly to the results, the excellent results in the Research Excellence Framework. Running an institution such as this is very challenging in the current uncertain environment. And I stepped down from my role, as I'm due to the end of this month, knowing that the university is not only in safe hands, but it's in the hands of a management team which is highly skilled, ambitious, and inspirational. And it's supported, and at times challenged, by an incredibly experienced and impressive council, led very thoughtfully and skillfully by Mervyn Walker, the Pro-Chancellor. I wish them every good wish for the future. Talking of success, I know that the success which you will have in all of your careers and your lives will further enhance the reputation of the university. So let's turn to you. those who are graduating today. It's traditional for those accepting a doctorate to pass on in their acceptance speech something that they've learned in their careers. And looking in the audience, I can see you're not going to be short of places to take advice, so you can weigh this in the balance with the other advice that you receive from those close to you. You all come from a range of different backgrounds. You're all your own people. And so in thinking about this, I thought I needed to mention things that are relevant to all of you. And you'll be pleased to hear that time is short, so I'm going to take 2 minutes to mention 4 things, which my experience and those of friends have taught me. And they are remarkably simple and obvious. First is, be focused and work hard, but try to keep your career in perspective as being part of your life and not all of it. Linked to that, try not to become defined solely by your job. Retain a sense of who you are. The two are not necessarily the same. Second, and links to the first, invest in your relationships. Don't take your family for granted. Build a group of friends outside of work. Develop some outside interests. Why do I say that, those first 2 items? Well, everyone, and I mean everyone, has reversals at some stage in their careers. Investing in a wider set of relationships will help you keep these in perspective, and you'll be able to deal with the reversals, although they will still hurt, but you will be able to deal with them more easily than if you'd put all of your chips on your career table. Third, find ways to put something back. Many of you will do this as part of your careers, others less so. Giving something back is good for the people you help, but it will also be good for you and your sense of well-being. Fourth, and finally, treat every day as a learning day. None of us know everything ever, and picking up new information from people with diverse backgrounds is one of the daily pieces of fun. So I started with family. And in closing, I knew I'd get in a mess with this. In closing, I'll end with it. I want to thank my wife and children publicly for all their support and help, which has enabled me to do what I've done here at the university and in my life generally. Chancellor, Pro-Chancellor, graduates, graduands, guests, thank you. It's been a privilege.
Chancellor, to you and to the university, I present the names of these graduates as listed in my program, both in attendance and in absentia, proved worthy to be admitted to their respective degrees. Bachelor of Laws, Law with Criminology, Maria Sami. Lucy Isabella Crosby Stern. Ellie Williamson. Law with French. Radelina Anchiva. Rebecca Grace Hewitt. Law with German law, Victoria Gordon. Chloe Lauret. Lydia Maya O'Neill. Isabella Sims. Anna Tagvanlani. Tasmin Tor. Law with Year Abroad, Valerie Mercy Boaki. Ayla Fury. Harry Joseph Kanda. Mohammed Zajan Ahad Khan. Ruby Redrick. Law with Year in Computer Science, Sisha Hunt. Nu Kian Nguyen. LLB for graduates, Jan Jakob de Bono Alchimovic. Ramandip Asi. Delphine Avram. Isaac Parko Bonfo. Matthew James Bowen. Habiba No Kamara. Sean Davis. Valentina Duganjit. Vera Osereme Egbando. Olua Bushola Olubunmi Fadipe. Ali Mohammed Farhat. Michelle Farinashia. Ka Chung Fung. Connor Greaves. Justin Alexander Gridanos. Farah Hafazala. Bria Hampson. Wasif Hassan. Amy Hemsley. Randy Jasmine Ashley Horatio. Mohammed Omar Hussein. Michaela Jessica James Williams. Bikram Katra. Bingjing Liu. Monica Diep Liu. Neda Mahmoudi. Dominic James Makin. Viotsa Memeti. Alexandra Monique Muraru. Oli Long Eunice Ng. Nana Abba Osifula Ofori Sofa. Oladipupa Stephen Oluk. Robert Peter Palmieri. Manal Rahim. Lona Reyna. Ayman Rifai. Vikramjit Sandhu. Megan Lee Soal. Agata Spywakowski. Chuku Fumania Pearl Uka. Nikita Vashista. Tajvi Kerr Verk. Laura Stephanie Wolf. Alia Zera. Tizana White. I now invite the student representative, Nida Mahmoudi, LRB for Graduates, to give the speech on behalf of the graduating cohort.
Thank you for that wonderful introduction. Before I begin, I would like to invite a round of applause for all those who have contributed their efforts in planning and conducting such a meaningful ceremony for us here today. It is a great privilege to be able to gather here, side by side, in the Great Hall and commemorate our past, present, and future achievements, as this was hardly imaginable only a year ago. Last year, I stood here and made a speech of a very different kind, welcoming prospective students and their families to begin their journey with us. Today, I am honored to stand here and share a few words on behalf of the student body to not only say farewell, but to reminisce on all the wonderful experiences we've shared together these past few years. Since commencing our degree at the peak of a global pandemic, we have inevitably faced great challenges, from working out technical difficulties during the Zoom University era to having to transition back to in-person classes, which may have initially felt unfamiliar and intimidating for many of us. Despite this, every person here today has successfully navigated through these obstacles and completed an already difficult degree during the most unpredictable times. From this, we have all become far more resilient, adaptable, disciplined, empathetic, which will all translate well into the real world. That said, none of this would have been possible without the continuous support received from our peers, our family, and our professors, who selflessly committed their time and efforts in ensuring our well-being. So thank you. Thank you to our friends and family for staying up with us to keep us company whilst we met those deadlines. Thank you to the BLS staff, who took the time to extend their office hours ahead of exams to ensure that all our questions would be answered. Your efforts do not go unappreciated. Now, it would only make sense for me to prove to you all that we can actually critically analyze, I know, our favorite phrase, any situation and apply the law to the facts. So here I go. In contract law, we were taught that there are 4 elements necessary to create a legally binding contract: offer, acceptance, consideration, and intention to create legal obligations. We've all accepted our offer to the university. So great, amazing, 2 elements satisfied right there. Easy, right? We've all paid our tuition in exchange for world-class education, which satisfies our 3rd element. And we've all intended on creating legal obligations because without our degree, we can't exactly be lawyers. So that is also evidently satisfied. Therefore, to conclude, in applying the law to the facts before us today, like many of us did so persuasively in our problem questions these past few years, it is likely that the court will find that BLS and the respective students, including myself, are not in breach of contract and that our law degrees are legitimate. So congratulations, 2-1 awarded because I failed to cite properly, of course. So to keep things short and simple, congratulations. I wish you all good health, happiness, and success in your future endeavors. I am sure that each and every single one of you will find your respective paths, whatever they may be, and fulfill your dreams to the fullest. It has been an incredible experience learning alongside you all, and I cannot wait to see what the future has in store for us. I encourage you all to carry on the efforts made by the BLS faculty to equip us with the tools and resources necessary to be good, to do good, and make good every situation that we encounter. Thank you all for your time, and congratulations again to the University of Birmingham Law School's class of 2022.
You entered this hall as graduands. You are now graduates. Congratulations to our graduates. And I think, what a great speech from Neda. I think a big congratulations to her once again. Fantastic speech. Thank you also to Professor Corey Ross, Professor Nelson Enonchong. Thank you to our university orator, Professor Michael Dobson, who is the head of our Shakespeare Institute in Stratford-upon-Avon, which is part of the university. It's the leading authority on Shakespeare, and he is the leading authority on Shakespeare in the world. We're very lucky to have you here. And as for Dr. Richard Hayward, congratulations to you. What a great honoree. And it's amazing how you're part of this family from the time you and Diane were at university here together, both studying law, and then your daughter's also now an alumna of the university. How absolutely marvelous. And your contribution as a governor, as a council member, your achievements as a lawyer, your deputy pro-chancellor of this university, and we of course have our chair of council, our pro-chancellor, Mervyn Walker. And thank you, Mervyn. I mean, the contribution by our governors, by our council members is amazing. They do it totally pro bono. The commitment, the time, the expertise, I mean, these are highly, highly respected, achieve the top of their professions, who give their time for our benefit. So I think a round of applause for our governors, for our council. So, thank you. So you have graduated today, and you, as Professor Corey said earlier, that you couldn't have done this on your own. It's your hard work, absolutely, but it's the support of your friends and your family and your teachers. Without them, you couldn't have done it. So please, could you stand up, graduates, and give them a huge round of applause. Thank you. Be proud. Please be seated. You are graduating from one of the best universities, and I'm not exaggerating, this is fact. Russell Group University, the Ivy League of the UK, top 100 in the world, just recently ranked. So be proud, be proud. I've been proud to be Chancellor of this great university for the past 8 years. I've been a member of the House of Lords. I joined 16 years ago in 2006, and I was one of the 3 youngest peers in the House at that time. I'm still one of the younger peers in the House of Lords today. Our average age is 70. I've been privileged to continue to run the business that I founded, Cobra Beer, from scratch, a joint venture with one of the largest brewers in the world, Molson Coors, for the last 13 years. And for the last 2 years, I've been president of the CBI, the Confederation of British Industry, the preeminent business organization in the UK, of which the University of Birmingham are members. And I'm also the 3rd generation to be a member of the Birmingham family. My grandfather graduated in 1931, his daughter, my mother, graduated in the 1950s, and her brother, my uncle, graduated in the 1960s, and I'm now the 3rd generation. So it's a great privilege for me to celebrate your achievements. I know how proud, I mean, if you're proud, I can tell you, I can see on the faces of your family how proud they are of you. This is a special day that none of us will ever forget. To think this university started in 1900 as the first civic university in the country. We've welcomed people of all faiths, all backgrounds, inspirational people. If you walk on either of the corridors on either side as you come out of this hall, you'll see Nobel Prize winners, 10 Nobel Prize winners from this university. One of them, Sir Peter Medawar, who won a Nobel Prize for his work on organ transplants. You'll see the work of 2 dentists who invented the first airbags after treating servicemen with severe facial injuries from vehicle accidents sustained during the First World War. And this is the great research that is done at this university. And we are famed for our research as a country. 1% of the world's population, we produce 16% of the world's leading research papers, and this university is a prime example of that. British universities are the best in the world, along with the United States of America. In the latest ranking, 4 out of the top 10 universities in the world are British universities, 5 from America, 1 from Switzerland. And America's population is 6 times more than this country, so we punch well above our weight, and I'm proud of that. If you go down to the Bramall Auditorium, the state-of-the-art auditorium, our international music culture, from Sister Bliss to The Cure through to Joy Division's latest ever concert, to Elgar being the first professor of music of this university. If you go to Dubai, I was there twice over the last few months. We've opened up a brand new campus, the first Russell Group University to open a campus in Dubai, state-of-the-art, AI-enabled, thousands of sensors. It's brilliant. And one of the visits in Dubai, I was there as a baton bearer for the Commonwealth Games. So the baton was handed over by Her Majesty the Queen last year, and it started going all the way around the world to the 72 Commonwealth countries and territories, and it went to one non-Commonwealth country, and that was Dubai. And I was there, and it was wonderful to be a baton bearer, to wear the T-shirt at our brand new campus over there. So this university is going to be hosting the Commonwealth Games starting on the 28th, running through to the beginning of August, and we're proud to be hosting hockey and squash on our campus. The Athletes Village is basically going to be on our campus. They're going to be Birmingham students and alumni representing their country in 9 sports, including swimming, judo, and athletics, and 1/3 of the English women's hockey team studied at Birmingham. So that's fantastic. We've always been really famous for our sports and sports science, always ranked in the top of the world, and we're going to be competing. In fact, at these games, without exaggeration, this university is playing more of a part than any university has played in a Commonwealth Games to date. And I'm inspired by what is achieved by the university non-stop. So if you haven't already got a job, you're going to get a job. We're right at the top of the rankings. And as for lawyers, I did a law degree, by the way, as well. As for lawyers, well, now one of the law firms is paying newly qualified solicitors more than the Prime Minister, so you're going to the right profession. You're going to earn very well. Of course, work hard and be focused. That's what Richard Hayward, in his advice, his very wise advice that he gave us. There is no shortcut to the hard work. I can guarantee that. That saying of 99% perspiration, 1% inspiration, genius, it is that 99% perspiration. The relationships Richard spoke about, it's very important. It's the people, your friends, your family who are going to stand by you in the tough times. And by the way, it's not going to be easy. It's a bumpy road. Hopefully it's an upward trajectory of success, but I can assure you it will not be a straight line. It will be ups and downs. And I've nearly lost my business 3 times, and the 3 things that have got me through each time: one is having a strong brand. You've got the Birmingham brand behind you for the rest of your lives. Secondly is the support of your family and your friends and the team that you work with. They're going to stand by you in tough times. And the third is integrity. It is better to fail doing the right thing than to succeed doing the wrong thing. Those 3 things will get you through any setback. And then Richard also said, put back into your community. So when I graduated and became an alumnus of an American university, I received an email the next day asking me for money. We're not so blunt. But do put back. Do give back. Money, time, mentoring, there are lots of ways in which you can do it. Please do. And to Richard's point, putting back into your community, putting back to your university, it's this mantra that not being the best in the world, but being the best for the world as well. And finally, you're going to join a family of 300,000 Birmingham alumni around the world. This is Hotel California. You can check out any time you want, but you can never leave. You are part of this family forever, and this family will be with you forever. So you've got amazing grounding that you've learned over here. You've the skills, debating, particularly being lawyers, debating is part of your DNA. The global challenges that we have to tackle, the people like you are going to solve them. You're going to go out to the Green Heart now, you're going to celebrate with your family and friends, and I'm just absolutely delighted with you. So before I conclude and give you my final advice, how many of you are international students? Put your hands up, please. There, look at that, look at that. I was an international student. I now chair the All-Party Parliamentary Group on International Students, and I'm president of UKISA that looks after the interests of all the international students in this country. Thank you for what you do, not just for the money you bring to this country, but thank you for what you contribute to our university, to your fellow students. You enrich our whole experience and the lifelong friendships that will be built. Thank you to our international students. And Nida in her speech spoke about being resilient, and she also talked about contract was my favorite subject in law, by the way. But, you know, we've had to have resilience, all of us, in the last 2.5 years. You know, Brexit being completed, well, it's still not completed, but anyway, the pandemic, Ukraine, the sad war in Ukraine, strikes, inflation, labor shortages, high taxes, energy prices. It's a tough, tough environment, not just for us in the UK, but around the world. And as Winston Churchill, one of his favorite sayings is, if you're going through hell, we've all been going through hell. If you're going through hell, keep going. And we've kept going, and we've come out the other side. We've got to be more resilient for a little bit longer, and we'll get through. But this war in Ukraine, if only it ends, His Holiness the Pope said, in the name of God, stop this massacre. And one of my most memorable days in Parliament was on the 8th of March, when normally once a year there's a joint sitting of Parliament when the House of Commons come and join us in the House of Lords, and Her Majesty the Queen addresses both houses. On the 8th of March, we adjourned the House of Lords, we went to the House of Commons, we sat in the gallery, the Commons sat on their benches. The first joint sitting of both houses in the House of Commons ever. And President Zelensky addressed us live from Kiev, from Ukraine. And it's a speech I will never forget. And Professor Michael Dobson is here. He quoted Shakespeare at the end of his speech. And he said, to be or not to be. It has to be to be. So, all the very best to you. Go the extra mile. Aspire and achieve. It'll always be against all odds. You might have little or no means, but do it, and do it with integrity. And finally, and Richard made this point as well, that the learning never stops. One of my favorite sayings of Mahatma Gandhi's is, live as if you're going to die tomorrow, learn as if you're going to live forever. The learning never, ever stops. And I could just wish you good luck. Yeah, I mean, that's a nice thing to do, wish you good luck. But the best definition of luck I've ever heard, luck is when determination meets opportunity. If you're not determined, you will not even see the opportunity. It's like waves that go past you in life. If you're determined, you might catch one of those waves. If you're not determined, those waves will go past you all your life. So be determined and then get lucky. So good luck, well done, congratulations. I now declare this congregation and ceremony closed.
Congratulations to our new graduates. The attendees applaud our new graduating class. close the ceremony, the maces are collected from the stage. The mace bearers lead the procession of staff and new graduates out of the Great Hall. The ceremony that completes the university journey for hundreds of Birmingham alumni is now closed.